97.7 ESPN The Zone.
In Tuscaloosa, we live by the blue-collar basketball motto.
Stepping back, deep three.
Hard work.
2-on-1, driving, stepping through, stop shot, got it to go.
Teamwork.
Playing the song for the champions of the Southeastern Conference.
Join us for every game right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel and McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
We are your home for March Madness.
For a second straight year, Ivy Madness has come to March Madness. Yale upsets Auburn, and Yale is on to the second round.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone. WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll, and I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
A pleasant good Thursday evening to you. Welcome into The Drive along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton here with you. So yesterday, this is how I'm going to start the show, by the way. How are you, Wes?
Doing good.
We had a remote yesterday over at Blue Oak Barbecue. And by the way, you might want to keep out on the lookout. They are going to be a featured zone deal coming up here. Tom Abraham's been getting over the crud. Well, I was his engineer yesterday. Woke up this morning, little throat issue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, I reached out to Tom, said,
thanks, buddy.
Sharing is caring. There's no doubt about that. But that this is the last thing that I need. But we're going to muscle through because it's a big show for us here today. Sonny Smith going to join us in 10 minutes' time. Always fun to talk to the former Auburn head coach and the big news of the day. I mean, I love how I very rarely go onto AL.com. I don't know if you I'm sure you probably read AL.com more than I do, but even on On3, this is where I first read it, from On3. The headline: Stephen Pearl claims Alabama hired Nate Oates due to Bruce Pearl being hired at Auburn. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty well documented on that one. But the way AL.com writes that, so that's the headline from On3. The headline from AL.com: Auburn assistant, Alabama hired Oates because Pearl was at Auburn.
What does that mean?
I'm sure they're just trying to fire folks up.
But why would that? Who cares? Yeah.
To the fringe, probably, I guess. I'm excited. I really am excited to see what this matchup finally looks like. It was good to talk to Dane Bradshaw yesterday. If you missed that interview, you can head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. You can check out all of our local programming. We've got a lot of local programs, beginning with Talking Ball, then the Blitz, as well as Tom Abraham from noon to 2. And, of course, we follow Paul. And on nights that we don't have anything, which is hardly ever, I mean, as your program director, there's 365 days in a year. I would say the nights that we re-rack Paul, I mean, collectively for given a year, what do you think? Maybe like 20%, maybe, if that. It's to say we're doing a lot. We've got March Madness coming up. I'm sure we're going to do a bracket challenge. I've been asked. So I'm sure we're going to do a bracket challenge. That is going to happen. We're also partnering up again with the Conference USA men's basketball and women's basketball tournament. They will be front and center here in second week in March. That's always a big deal because that's two golden tickets to the big dance right here in Huntsville, Alabama. So it's always fun to be a part of that with Conference USA setting up shop here in Huntsville. But also tonight is UAH Charger basketball. So this is what I thought we would do, Wes, is I just talked to Coach Mick Hedgespeth an hour ago and thought we'd end the program with that, and that would roll into the SEC report, the SEC men's basketball report. We'll have that for you, and then that will go into UAH Charger basketball. Joe Hunk is going to help me out tonight because Scott Tyson is doing all-day duty over at the VBC PA all day today, all day tomorrow, all day Saturday for state wrestling. The state wrestling tournament going on over at the VBC. Always a big deal. Always a big deal. And it's always fun to see what happens over there on the mat, as I'm sure quite a few folks are in town for the state wrestling. So that's what's going on.
And this is wrestling, not wrestling.
Gordon Sully is not going to intro you into the mat. Scott Tyson will.
Randy Macho Man said.
I bet by tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, if you tune in, I bet Scott's voice shot.
Gone. Just gone.
Just shot.
Just gone.
Because Yeah, because I've heard him do PA a couple of times,
right?
And he really tries to bellow
he gets
it out.
into it. They get their money's worth.
Yeah. But I hopefully he has a voice here tomorrow morning when he's manning the mic here in our brand new palatial studio.
But don't worry, Joe Hunk's ready to step right in.
He is.
I heard them come back with a backup plan. And Joe Hunk is a juggernaut, and he'll be here in case Scott can't be
here. There is a little bit of news that I wanted to pass along, and that is 6 schools are now joining forces in a new NIL licensing group that will look to sign the college football video game rights of FBS players, this according to Pete Thamel. Those involved in this venture are Texas Tech, Oregon, Wisconsin, Illinois, Georgia, and Alabama.
Then a what now?
See, that caught his attention, didn't it? They are joining forces in a new NIL licensing group that is going to look into signed college football video game rights of FBS players.
They're doing that already. They've been doing that. They did that last year.
Well,
each player gets
it is called the Pathway Sports and Entertainment.
Somebody trying to figure out how to get a commission.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. Pete Thamel is quoted in this story from On3, a new undertaking in signing up FBS college football players, video NIL licensing rights to be used in a college football video game. Pathway Sports and Entertainment, founded by Casey Schwab, was signed a majority of football players at Alabama, Georgia, Illinois, Wisconsin, Oregon, and Texas Tech. Direct quote. And there are now 6 schools involved in the group, but the goal is to get every FBS program to this arrangement. I bet that would cost in the range of $17 million. For his part, Casey Schwab is calling this, quote, the largest commercial program for college athletes in history, end quote. Aims to be the first group to actually negotiate directly with video game makers on behalf of the group.
It's just the agent making an announcement. That's all that is. Trying to corner the market and get paid. That's what that is.
Has 450 players signed up right now. So we shall see.
450 players of how many players are there? There are 100, at least, they're going to 105. That's happened at Alabama, happened at Georgia, assuming the rest of them. So that's 4 teams? So what? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just.
Let's go ahead and take our first time out. And the one and only Sonny Smith set to join us on the other side as we will continue to dissect 1 versus 1. Sonny was on the treadmill earlier today.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. Their locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed. Just get it wrong.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I'm at Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
So the idea of bump music to me is for me to want to talk, but I want to hear Dolly. I mean, that's just me. I mean,
well, it is World Radio Day.
Oh, is it really?
It is World Radio Day. Happy World Radio Day to you.
Yeah.
And to all of you broadcast professionals out there, we're glad to have you. All the tireless hours you do to keep us informed, living and working and living, taking care of us in your community.
Appreciate that.
Brought to you by.
That's right. Dolly Parton. Anyway, let's I bet our next guest is a Dolly Parton fan too, and that is Coach Sonny Smith, who's kind enough to join us. Always fun to talk some college hoops with you, Sonny. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. Boy, this is a lot of fun to preview this 1-versus-1 matchup, Coach.
Very rarely we ever see it in a state where it's known as a football state. Basketball is at an all-time high in Alabama.
Yeah.
We were. Somebody said, "Well, were you good while I was coaching here?" Well, Wimp and I both had really good teams, and somebody said, "Well, who had the highest record?" We were 5-5, and it worked out real well for both students that way. 5-5 against each other.
Wow.
And those were some great matchups too. With
They really were.
Bobby
Basketball was
Lee,
really
and
good back then,
oh,
but
no
it
question.
doesn't have the emphasis that it does today, though. Basketball is much bigger in the SEC, I think it was, than it was when we were. The players were as good, but I think the emphasis on basketball is great right now in the SEC.
What is it? Because it just the overall conference is the best conference now in the country, and getting more attention than ever as far as nationally. You know, you have the old ACC guys are talking about how good the SEC is.
Well, the ACC used to be so good, you know, that they were like head over heels, I guess would be a good word, above everybody else. But over the years, the Big East and other conferences and the SEC have caught up, and in some ways have gone above them. And it might sound funny for me to say this, but the SEC is known as a football conference more than anything else years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But now being a football conference and the basketball getting so good in the SEC, it's made them be a little bit above everybody else because football people are now listening more.
Well, when you look at the SEC network, that's what I give a lot of credit, because it seems like in the Big East used to get a lot of players from the South because their parents and everybody could watch them on TV. They were on TV,
right?
And now with the and there used to be just one game a week on the well, there were 2 games a week, one on Tuesday or Wednesday, one on Saturday. Now every game's on TV.
Every game. Well, basketball has been elevated in the Southeastern Conference. I don't know who gets credit. I used to go back and say, who promoted basketball better in the SEC than anybody else? And I'd have to say CM Newton. Once CM Newton went to the league office, basketball was elevated and it became a sport that everybody was looking at. And I give him a lot of credit for that. It might not be the most credit, but I give it to him.
You mentioned about going 5-5 against Wimp. Is there any of those 5 that stand out more than others for you, Sonny?
No, the only thing they don't stand out is because of memory. You know, somebody has to bring up the category and tell me something that happened in the game, and then I can retaliate, so to speak. But
fair enough.
I'm 89 now, so I might not even remember the day that we beat Wimp. The days I got beat.
But you know you
He'll
did
say he won every game. But the reason I said we're 5-5, somebody sent me a record said we're 5-5 against one another.
All right,
I was a better coach than him. He said I was better. He said he was better looking, so I guess I'll have to give
ultimately, so I imagine you could have taken him. And how many times did you play him on the court or on the course? Was Wimp always the better golfer and you the better tennis player?
No question. I couldn't play golf. Wimp was from a rich family. They weren't on welfare like my family. We were on welfare. We couldn't. Only thing we were outside was we'd be digging holes to plant food. We didn't have no golf.
Talking to Sonny Smith right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and following the program, at least from Bruce Pearl's perspective, what impresses you most about Bruce Pearl and what he's done down there in the Plains, Coach?
Well, you know, over the years, even when we were good, Auburn was still known as a football school. And I think you would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
But since he has been at Auburn, it's turned into sellouts for every basketball game that they have. They got great players coming in. His players graduate. He's got a super coaching staff that do great jobs out in the community. And I think he's a perfect coach for Auburn, and that's why they're doing so well.
The way you could tell how much it meant to him when Jay Jacobs took a chance on him, Coach, and see what he's done with it.
Well, Jay Jacobs made a great move right there because he is one thing that he does. He's a great recruiter. That's the name of the game in college basketball. You got to recruit, and no matter you can't coach a winner anymore. You got to have the better players. And you look at over the last few years the type of player that he's brought into Auburn. Look at where they go when they leave. They go right straight to the pros, and they do very well. So it's his ability to recruit, and also he's very good once he gets them. He's also very good out in the community selling the program. So Bruce Pearl is the kind of guy you want on your list as great coaches.
You know, Coach, we've had several of Bruce players former players, both at Auburn and at Tennessee, and you can tell they jump on a grenade for him, and that says a lot.
Well, he's a player's coach. Very rarely do you get the players coach back. One reason that you don't get that as much is there used to be old school type coaches where they drove people like a rented mule, you know what I mean? And got after them, beat them up. And now coaching has changed. And Bruce Pearl is a good example of I can get after you and still you'll love me when it's all over because he's going to be there for you every time you need to have something done for you.
He has really adapted because this game has changed quite a lot around the game has changed. The game itself, how much do you think the game of college basketball has changed through the years, Coach?
I think it's changed because it got on a level of, some schools couldn't wait for football to start. And now I think all schools that are really competitive have sellout seasons before the season starts. They sell out their arena, and I never thought I'd ever see that. And basically, in SEC at times was known as a football conference years ago, and all of a sudden now they're selling out all over the place. And basketball is at a high level right now. It was always good, but from a standpoint of fan participation, it's the highest it's ever been.
And really, in recent years, being a part of the Auburn Sports Network and being there on the court and just feeling the energy in the building, how impressive is that you got to experience over the last handful of years there inside the jungle, Coach?
Well, you've heard all of this. Auburn, they say Auburn's a football school. Well, Auburn, Bruce Pearl or whoever, I had something to do with it, of course. Just turned this into an all sports school, and basketball is right up there at the top. You can't hardly get a ticket to get into a game now, and so that's a tribute to Bruce Pearl and his type of people that he brings in, the way that he coaches. He's an outstanding coach. And he's also a great recruiter. That makes a big difference.
Doesn't it? I mean, when you first started as a head coach, how different did recruiting go, at least from the mid-'70s to the late '90s during your span, Coach?
Well, it got more competitive over the years, and the reason that it did is because of the reports that they put out on players. Used to, you could find a player in your state that was good, and he wouldn't be receiving a lot of publicity. You find a player in your state, even though he's in a small school, he will be in every recruiting survey in the country because they now cover every state like a blanket. So it's tougher to recruit now than it was when I was recruiting because you could steal a player in your state that hadn't been heard of. And I've had a couple of those that have done really well. Well, they ain't no unheard ofs anymore because of the type of recruiting surveys they have and the media attention that is set on high school basketball is more so now than ever before. So things have really changed as far as SEC basketball is concerned.
When you landed Sir Charles, did you know what you had, Coach?
I have to preface this a little bit. I knew how good he could be.
Okay.
I didn't know how good he would be. And the reason for that, he was overweight, very lazy, and you had to Was I going to be able to get the weight off of him? Was I going to be able to get him to play hard? Was I going to be able to keep him in school, going to class, that type of thing? That was all a real question mark. And so we worked so hard at it, it turned out to be a positive. And probably right now, if you mention Auburn basketball, one of the first names to come up will be Charles Barkley.
Yeah. And what was there a turning point for him, though, Coach, during your time there?
I think the turning point happened in the tournament when we got beat by Richmond.
Okay.
Charles Barkley realized in that game he didn't get into the game until we were almost beat. He came to the bench and he said, Sonny, tell him to give me the ball and we'll win this game. Well, he got it right up to a last basket, but Richmond won the game. And we had a better team than Richmond. But he was kind of a guy that didn't play hard. Billy Cunningham, the coach of Philadelphia 76ers, said, how is this Coach Charles? I said, he's a great player and you're going to win a lot of games with him, but he doesn't like to practice. I saw him a year or so after that, and he said, well, you're right. He is a great player, but he doesn't like to practice. But, he got better at that.
Yeah.
He got better at the point that he worked as hard as the rest of them.
I think it was Moses Malone. He gave credit for that.
Well,
telling him,
you might, you can believe that or not believe it. I will tell you this. I called Moses Malone, and I told him, I said, you're the one person that could have an influence over Charles and get him to do things better. And he took it on himself now, and I knew Moses because I recruited him in high school. So he got after Charles, and Charles respected Moses Malone probably more than any player that he played against or, played in the NBA, for instance.
You mentioned Moses Malone. Man, I remember one of the bigger memories I have in the mid-'80s is when the Hawks got Moses Malone. And, of course, he was a very seasoned veteran by that time. But he's one of the bigger guys that, frankly, doesn't get talked enough about on how dominant he was in the paint, Coach.
Well, I called him up, and I knew Moses because I was up there when he was in high school. I was recruiting him, trying to get him. I didn't get him. I was at Virginia Tech at the time. Well, I told him, if you talk to Charles, it would really help. And he got after Charles and told him how hard he'd have to play and how he needed to change his habits. And Charles really respected Moses Malone. And I think that was one of the best things that ever happened, getting Moses after.
I'm looking up some stories on Sir Charles, and it mentions about a high school game where he scored 26 points against some guy named Bobby Lee Hurt.
Yes, I remember that. And I might have been at that game.
Yes, sir, you were. It mentions you being at that game, saying, quote, a fat guy who can play like the wind, end quote.
Charles Barkley was an amazing talent. As a basketball coach, you only get a few of those in your whole career. You get a guy that can do so many things, and you look at the size of him and the weight and the stories you hear about him, you think, how in the world did they get him to do that? But he turned out to be a sensational player in college and a much better player in the pros.
As for Chuck Person, though, Coach, was he a more motivated individual out of the gate?
No question. Chuck Person might be the most motivated player I ever coached. He's the kind of guy would keep you an hour after practice working on moves. And Chuck Person played, I may say this incorrectly, but the way I look at it, Chuck Person played better than he was. His production was a better player than his talent.
Yeah.
Because he did everything well, and he did it right, and he was a team player. He's the best, everybody say, well, Barkley's the best player I ever coached. He probably is, but the best player I ever coached probably, in my estimation, would have been Chuck Person because he was coachable. And he's the kind of guy that could do everything you wanted him to do and help the team win. And I knew he'd be a great college coach. And I think he turned out to be that.
I can't help but think you mentioned about him sticking around. I mean, guys feed off that energy. So I would imagine, other guys would work on their game more because when you see a guy with that much talent like Chuck had. It just that's the kind you want right there, Coach.
Well, I tell you, when Chuck was assistant here,
yeah,
he was a great teacher of fundamentals, teaching them offensive moves, and that made that team so much better. And I wish that he hadn't run into the problems that he did. I think he would probably still be here because he loves Auburn so much.
As for Bama, how much of you watched Alabama this year, Coach?
Oh, I watch them every time I can see them.
What do you think
of them? They got a great coach. They got a great coach. What they have got is a go-to star. They got that. They also got guards that can take care of the defensive side of the ball really extremely well. They also share the ball extremely well. If somebody asked me to say who's the best team, Auburn or Alabama, I couldn't say, but I will say this: they're the two best teams I've seen.
So that's where I was going to lead into. Who you got there, Coach? who you got? Who you got?
Well, of course I got Auburn, but I tell you, serious from a serious standpoint.
Yes, sir.
Whoever has the best bench will win the game. Because I think they're pretty much equal. You tell me the difference.
Both benches are really good.
Equal of them starting five.
Yeah.
But now, I think the secret to the game is going to be how well the bench plays, how deep they have to go into them, and of course, a lot of that will be foul trouble. Of course,
that's right, and turnovers and just
turnovers for sure.
I know that's been a bit of an issue most recently for Alabama, but I when I take a closer look at Auburn, Chaney Johnson is someone that I keep a close eye on, and his game at Vanderbilt. Chaney would play really well at UAH or in the big spotlight games, and boy, you can tell he's starting to get it for Bruce Pearl, Coach.
When you're a guy that comes from high school and goes to a Division II or goes to a lower Division I school and makes the transfer, and they become successful as after they've been there a number of games. This guy came in as a go-to player.
Yeah.
And he must have been terrific when he was at the other schools. I'm not sure how well he was. But
well, right out of the gate, I can tell you, Coach, he was a bit of a
offensive player. He's a great defense player.
Yeah, right out of the gate, he was a foul magnet. He just would enter into the game, and it felt like he had 3 fouls in about 2 minutes of playing time. But
too aggressive.
Exactly.
Too aggressive. That happens to a lot of young kids.
But then you've got Chad Baker-Mazzara, and I've yet to guys, at least from the antics that I see on the court, I mean, Bruce obviously likes what he sees, but for me, that's a wild card right there, Coach.
Bruce Pearl is a coach that handles that type of situation. He has had players that are difficult to coach, difficult to handle on some of the things they do off the court. Somehow, on the confrontations that they have, Bruce Pearl wins out, and they end up being productive players for him, and also being better person than they were before the problems that he had with him. So Bruce Pearl's a great coach. He can win with his and beat you, and he wins with yours and beat you. He's that kind of coach.
That sounds like a Bear Bryant saying right there, Coach.
Well, maybe it was. Maybe I've been listening too much football. Bear Bryant was coaching in the league when I was here, and he never did call me coach. He called me boy. How you doing, boy? He never called me coach ever. He said, how you doing, boy?
I really miss you and Wimp. I do, Coach. That was such a fun show to listen to.
That. I thought we did a lot for basketball in the state.
You did.
From the standpoint of we were pretty much, both of us, pretty good. And I thought we represented our schools really well.
Yeah.
And we did all the speaking things you needed to, and we were entertaining, and I thought that helped things a lot with us. I don't know how the two coaches today, how they get out and do things, but I know this. Alabama's got a great coach in Nate Oates, and Auburn's got a great coach in Bruce Pearl. So coaching will never be a factor on either one of those sides.
I from a conference standpoint, though, Coach, this has a feel to me of Big East basketball back in the mid '80s of every night, just very competitive, very entertaining to watch.
That's a great comparison. The Big East put a lot of people to work, and the ACC put a lot of people to work. They were the two conferences that if you wanted to get somewhere, you had to kind of go with the way those guys were coaching in that league. And they had great coaches almost every place.
Yeah. Other than Alabama and Auburn, is there another team that you gravitate towards?
Florida's awful good.
Okay.
Florida's awful good. And I look at it from a standpoint of who did I think can win on the road. Now, I noticed one thing the other night. Georgia doesn't look good, but they play well on the road.
I do.
So if you get – it's going to come down in this league because it's such a balanced league. You got to go out on the road and steal some wins. That goes for Auburn and Alabama. In Kentucky, for instance, used to you say, Kentucky, can you win? Can you win at Kentucky? Now you can. Used to you'd have to count that as one of your losses, but now you can go to Kentucky and win. That's another thing that's changed this conference a lot. I won one time at Kentucky as a coach. And a guy came up to me after the game and wanted to hire me. Going to fire Joe Hall. Joe Hall's a Hall of Fame coach. He's going to fire him and haul me. He's going to fire him and hire me.
With as much changeover and everything, is there anything because Auburn fans definitely had a bad taste in their mouth with losing to Yale in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Is there anything you think of that fueling a team during the offseason? Is there anything to that, Coach?
Well, the thing about it, just bringing up the Yale game, for instance, if you're going to get in an upset situation, you got to play a team that's got smarter players than you, one that's able to hold the ball, manage the clock, shoot the shots that they need to shoot at exactly the right time. And Yale ended up being the team that did that. And, you ain't going to get in at Yale like I couldn't have gone through the Yale campus. They'd arrested me. That was my grade. But, you got to be a smart guy to play at Yale. So they had smart players for sure.
Well, this team is a lot of fun to watch. And defensively, though, this may be one of the better defenses I've seen, period, in college basketball.
When you can play defense as well as they do, and you can do it without fouling, you go back and look and see how many people you can find on the Auburn team that's been in foul trouble and had to sit out a long time. They play defense so solid and so physical without fouling. And I think that's a thing that you got to look at is a guy doing a great job of coaching defense. If you can coach him to play hard and physical and stay out of foul trouble, you're really doing a great job.
Coach, I can't thank you enough for the time. It's always fun to talk hoops with you. And I know what you'll be doing Saturday afternoon at 3:00, much like a lot of us. Oh, you're going to the game?
No. I won't. It's away. I don't do anything away.
Yes, sir.
I do the games at home, and I do that after the game stuff. No, I don't travel anymore. I got so old, I don't know how to get on a bus.
Well, you've got that last game at home. The last game coming up in March, that ought to be just as entertaining.
Well, the SEC is so good, so physical. So many good teams in it now. They're finally getting the recognition. You never think of the SEC as being a football conference anymore. Basketball has gotten so good at every school. And I don't know. Somebody said, who do you give more credit for that than anybody? The one guy that I would say was C.M. Newton.
Yeah.
C.M. Newton went to the league office in the SEC, and he changed basketball forever by putting it in the forefront right up and getting a lot of publicity for the league.
Now, is Aiden Holloway going to get the proper greeting, you think, there in early March, Coach?
Yeah. I would say you better bring some earmuffs, earplugs. I will say that. He's a great player.
Yeah.
I don't know why he left. I didn't look into that or try to deal into it. but I sure wish he'd have stayed because he's a heck of a player.
Yes, he is. It'll be fun to watch. And, Coach, I always appreciate the time you give us. Appreciate you, sir.
Well, you call me anytime. You know, I love being on your show.
Likewise. We love having you on, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Go enjoy some dinner. That is Coach Sonny Smith. He is, boy, him and Wimp back in the day. That was just so entertaining because of the tangents Wimp would go on, and Sonny would just let him go on, and it just, but always very entertaining. Always very entertaining. And
they were great coaches. Both of them were great
coaches. Yes. I imagine in maybe 20 years, there's no chance we're going to see Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates.
I mean, you never know. You can't.
Never say never.
Never say never.
The math teacher and the cheerleader.
Ooh.
Because, I mean, there is no one who shares love like Bruce Pearl. I mean, he's always got something good and is just excited about these guys.
And getting more and more opinionated.
Right. But the thing about Nate Oates, as good as he is, he still sounds like a math teacher.
A little bit.
He sounds like coaches teaching math.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's working.
So I said that to Mick Hedgespeth, the new head coach at UAH, that he to me also sounds like a math teacher. And I said that to him, and he took that like offensively.
Ooh,
and
no.
I said, no. If anything, the other guy that I'm thinking of is Nate Oates.
Right.
He's doing pretty good.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Doing okay.
And then all of a sudden you see UAH, 4th in the country, 22-game winning streak. It's pretty good.
And there's nothing wrong with sounding like a coach. I mean, I'm still surfing on what I learned about civics and economics from Coach Patterson from my high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And we didn't see eye to eye, and that's still the same. But but also I actually went and found my senior year math teacher, and I apologized to her. Okay. I said all this stuff that a brash little younger version of me said I'd never use. I'm sorry, I lied to you. I did.
Well done. Well done.
But
that addition has helped you a lot.
Well,
there's a little bit more subtraction.
Well, I'm
for
going
me.
to say I can keep track of a lot of subtraction.
Yeah.
Division.
Yeah.
Cosine.
Yeah. Pi.
Speaking of tangents.
Yeah, really. Let's go ahead and take our final time out here in this first hour. 256-576-4977, the telephone number. Clark Kellogg going to join us at the top of the hour.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Partly cloudy sky expected for this Thursday night. Low temperatures falling into the upper 20s for the overnight. Heading into our Friday, expect to see mostly sunshine. High temperatures only warming into the lower 50s for the afternoon. Expect breezy conditions at times. Heading into the weekend, we've got the risk for a few strong to severe thunderstorms to develop. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Right now, over on the Charger Zone, if you download our app, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just head over to your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store and click on, well, you would type out 977 ESPN. And right now, Joe Hunk is calling the women's game over on the Charger Zone as the Chargers lead it 14-10, close to the end of the first quarter there. That'll lead into our coverage of UH Charger basketball. On the men's side, it'll be myself and Joe Hunk tonight because Scott Tyson is on wrestling duty tonight over at the BBC. And I think he's also tied up Saturday, too, I want to say. But
all weekend, I think.
Yeah. Mentioned a story right out of the gate involving NIL. Well, there's an even more local story in regards to name, image, and likeness. Alabama has become the latest state to introduce a bill that would create a competitive advantage for its collegiate athletes. Alabama State Representative Joe Loren, it's Lovvorn, so pronounce it however you'd like to, introduced a legislation into the House yesterday that would make NIL earnings exempt from Alabama's individual income tax.
So I don't agree with that.
I completely disagree with that.
Yep.
The move follows a similar bill that popped up in the state of Georgia. The Senate earlier this morning, or earlier in the month in the state of Georgia. Alabama currently has a state income tax with ranging from 2% to 5%. Now, where is it 2%?
Yeah, I don't know where.
Where is it? I want to know exactly where it is 2%. It's not in this neck of the woods. This bill would also put Alabama and Auburn on equal footing with Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. Those are the SEC states with no state income tax.
Yeah, but their property taxes are huge in those states.
Yes.
So it's just
they're making it up from a different. This is a shell game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I still want to know where the 2%. I said 2 to 5%.
Well,
Man,
I bet that has to do with how much money you make. I would guess.
Okay. All right. State representatives from the state of Alabama, Danny Garrett and Chris Blackshear, helped write the bill as well. If enacted, the legislation would go into effect on October the 1st of this year and would be applied retroactively January 1st of 2025, while remaining effective through 2027. I just
don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Well, I mean, I guess I could start.
At what point are we going to start to see?
Well, what I would do is get NIL. That's what all the money we pay out would now be name, image, like this. This is not NIL money.
You know what? All of a sudden, I'm looking at this bill completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm not a walk-on. Can I be a hobble-on?
Hobble-on. Wow.
Oh, man.
NCAA President Charlie Baker and the college sports leaders continue to lobby lawmakers on Capitol Hill for federal NIL bill. Meanwhile, the House versus the NCAA. I read up a little bit. There is some history that I did not know about between our president, Donald Trump, and Charlie Baker. And it's not good.
Well,
there was a bit of a tiff.
Well, there's always a tiff. So, finish what the bill is.
Okay.
Thank you.
The House v. NCAA settlement is expected to start on July the 1st, but has yet to have final. It will have final approval this spring. Institutions will share. This is according to on3.com. Institutions will share $20.5 million in 1 year of revenue sharing, with most Power 4 schools expected to share between 15 to 17 million on their football rosters. So that's a big chunk.
So this is still the settlement they keep talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
And now the settlements in Congress is having something to do with the settlement?
No. Well, the House v. NCAA settlement is expected to start on July the 1st, but we will know that answer once this is a done deal in terms of this lawsuit in April. I believe it's around mid-April is when we will know for certain.
Well, I was hoping that Congress would do away with the stupid lawsuit. That's what I was hoping, to be honest with you.
But I don't think that's happening.
Well, I mean, if Congress gets involved, why wouldn't they? I mean, what
do you think they're going to?
I would think so. I would hope so.
Before April.
Well, I think the whole thing right now, everybody's tied up with the Senate is totally tied up with the confirmations of the cabinets, and I'm hoping after that they'd do something. Yeah, because it's just such a and I'm not.
Well, to us, this is a big priority, but from I don't that talk radio WZZN, by the way, for all of your news talk story angles there. In fact, the Will Kane show's on right now, and that leads into the Bill O'Reilly program over on talk radio WZZN.
Yeah, but what we're talking about is this is totally sports right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how big of a priority it is up on the Hill. That's my point.
Well, priority one thing to fix college football that's a mess. I think it should be a big thing. I mean, you're talking about the education of these kids that are all going to pot, and it's easily fixed and still pay them. I'm not saying don't pay them.
Yeah.
I'm saying have a system that works for all the schools instead of what's happening. These kids, they're going the portal. Over half of them don't even get to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're being led astray. They're being taken advantage of. They're paying. Most people in the NFL now pay anywhere from 1% to 3% for representation. They're paying 20%. A lot of them are getting ripped off by their agents. This is happening. This is a real thing, and it can easily be fixed and make the sport. I mean, to me, when I don't think, in my opinion, of course, you're going to make more money if you play more games, right?
Yep.
But they're playing too many games. It's not about the college athlete anymore.
Yeah.
It's gotten all about everything is just money, and then that's going to go away. I mean, the same amount of people are going to be on the NFL teams. That's not changing.
Mm-mm.
And if they don't have an education, that it's going to be worth. They're going to lose a lot more than they're making, because a lot of this money is being taken from them.
I did hear earlier today, Tom Abraham was speaking of something that was brought up by Ralph Russo, who writes for the Associated Press, and his idea that Tom really liked was that the championship weekend's not going away, but the idea was to move up the rivalry weekend to the weekend before Thanksgiving, have championship weekend the weekend of Thanksgiving, then the SEC championship game. Then after the championship weekend, there would be a play-in tournament for just the Big Ten and the SEC, because they would have a total of 4 spots, as the top 2 teams would be automatic qualifiers into the tournament. And then you'd have 3 play 5, 4 play. Yeah.
That's not happening.
But it's another game.
It's another game.
It's another game.
It's not happening.
That's why that's immediate. It's another game on a tweener team.
Yeah.
That sure would be entertaining, but some point,
where does it stop? This is
not.
And the fact that the ratings were lower than they were the year before, and they're making excuses for it, I think the fact that it's turning off a lot of people. This whole thing is turning off a lot of people.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, to me, I thought Ohio State looked good at the end, and I thought Texas looked good at the end. The rest of these schools didn't look that good. The football's not as good.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
All right, Clark Kellogg is set to join us after this Sports Center timeout. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Sports Center. I'm Nick DeLuca. The NFL offseason getting going, and the changes continue with the Jets. New York bringing in a new head coach and a new GM, and they'll have a new quarterback for next season as well, announcing they'll move on from future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers after 2 seasons with the team. Head coach Aaron Glenn and GM Darren Muji saying they thank him for the leadership, passion, and dedication he brought to the organization and wish him success moving forward. The team brought in Devontae Adams at the deadline this past season to help Rodgers. ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini says Adams is likely headed elsewhere too.
I think Devontae Adams' time with the Jets is up, and I don't think they'll be able to trade him. That would take a lot of creativity because he is owed a massive. His cap number for this year is $38 million. So obviously, they're not going to keep him under that cap number. They'll have to renegotiate that contract.
Samini on Freddie and Harry. The Jets had 5 wins this past season. In the NBA, closing in on All-Star Weekend in San Francisco. There won't be a Steph Curry-Sabrina Ionescu rematch. The league announcing the event won't take place despite conversation about one of the most popular events of last season's All-Star competition in Indianapolis. On the ice, 4 nations face-off continues tonight in Montreal. Canada kicking things off with an overtime win last night over Sweden. Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, and Team USA take the ice tonight against Finland. US minus 380 on ESPN Bet.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. Their season ended in disappointment again. So what can the Bills do this offseason to get them to Super Bowl 60? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back inside the new digs here, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you, walking you up the UAH Charger basketball right now over on the Charger zone.
Seconds to get across half quarters is still the same count. Referee says a new count. Only takes him a few seconds to get across the line anyway.
Come on, Joe. Give me a score.
Maxson now with the ball.
Come on, Joe. Give me a score.
Down to Woods. Extra pass to Wilkins is going to be no good. That's going to be rebounded by Maddox and fouled by McFall, which is going to send Ivy Maddox to the free throw line.
So there you go. That right now, that is over on the Charger zone as the UAH women are in action. And you can check out that right now over on the Charger zone as the Chargers lead it 28-14 as they lead it over CBU. And we'll have coverage of the men later on tonight, a 22-game winning streak on the line for the 4th-ranked team in the country in Division II college basketball. Well, we've been previewing a lot of the Alabama-Auburn matchup. And by the way, you'll be able to hear that game right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone as pregame is at 2 o'clock and tip-off a little after 3. But the Chargers will also be in action on Saturday. It's senior day for the Chargers as they'll take on the Union Bulldogs, and you'll hear those games over on Talk Radio WZZN. That's our HD.2 channel. Also coming up this weekend, and I am assuming it's going to have a very big SEC feel to it, is the kind of preview of your top 16 heading into the NCAA tournament. It's a big show in terms of teams that have secured some spots in the NCAA tournament. And that is, this is going to be the first one where we're going to have, it's going to have almost an SEC network feel to it because of how many SEC teams more than likely are going to be in that top 16 field.
Yeah. So how many years ago was it when we were talking about there'd be 3 or 4 teams?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
Clark Kellogg from CBS Sports, as well as Turner Sports is kind enough to join us, and we're talking about your show this weekend, Clark. And
I love it.
I'm starting to think that this is going to have a SEC network feel to it this weekend.
It certainly will. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't or how it couldn't when you think about the quality of the league. I mean, unprecedented and historic in terms of what the league has produced out of conference and in conference. So, yeah, I'm kind of eager to see how it plays out in the top 16 seeds. I would think at least a fourth of those teams are going to be SEC teams, and maybe as many as 6 or 7 possibly. I haven't really analyzed the seeding potential, but we'll talk about it tomorrow, and obviously we'll have the show on Saturday. But the SEC will be well represented for sure.
Well, we have been talking quite a bit about the 1 versus 1 matchup of AP 1 versus Coaches 1. So let's dive into it. Where do you want to start here? I'll just let you paint the canvas for me, Clark. Where do you want to start in this big matchup?
I would start from the standpoint of just being a fan of the game. And obviously these two teams are at the top of the heap when you think about how they played over the course of the year. And to have them go head-to-head this weekend will be a treat, I think, for fans. Both teams are up-tempo teams, excellent depth, tremendous talent, well coached. I mean, there's so many things to like about both teams. And I'm anticipating a game that ultimately comes down to the simple things that most games come down to. I mean, it's not really easy, but it's not complicated either. I mean, you got to take care of the ball. You got to do a job on the glass. And as you look at these specific teams, obviously you want to try to minimize Alabama's opportunities in the open court. But they're so good at pushing that thing ahead and spacing the floor with shooting and attacking and putting pressure on the rim. Auburn is similar in that regard. So I just think it's going to be a matter of the basics. Can you defend without fouling? Can you rebound effectively? And can you get quality shots consistently? And let the chips fall where they will after that.
So what do you contribute to the Southeastern Conference all of a sudden in the last 3 years just keeps getting better and better overall?
Well, I think it's a convergence, a confluence of things, guys. I mean, one, going back several years ago, there was an emphasis with the late Mike Slive and obviously Greg Sankey to really emphasize the level of coaching, talent, and scheduling in the SEC. And that's paid dividends. I mean, you till that soil and sow those seeds 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago, and now you start to reap the benefits. And then positive momentum oftentimes with teams, with programs across conferences can build on itself. And so I think you're seeing evidence of that as well. I mean, the factors are, terrific coaches, obviously, and tremendous talent. And now you've got some momentum. But this type of dominance in the non-conference schedule and obviously the games within the conference are ranked versus ranked pretty much every night is, pretty special and the first time we've seen such. But credit goes to leadership, both at the conference and the institutions level across the league.
What impresses you most about the growth of Janai Broome for the Auburn Tigers, Clark?
Man, I tell you, he's just so efficient, guys. That's the one thing. He's a rim protector. He's not uber athletic, but he knows how to use what he has. And he does a little bit of everything. I think probably the thing that maybe most impresses me is his passing ability. I mean, he's a really good passer for a big guy. And that's a combination of understanding the game, but also having a sense of feel and touch and awareness, which is pretty special. And it's always kind of cool to see it in big guys, big guys that primarily play with the back to the bucket. And then he's actually become, a bit of a threat from behind the three-point line when he's got his feet set. I mean, it's still not the strength of his game, but he's not somebody you can just ignore out there because he can knock them down. So I've enjoyed seeing him continue to develop. I watched him when he was a freshman and sophomore at Morehead State, really liked him. And now to see him evolve into I imagine him and Cooper Flagg will split Player of the Year honors. I don't know if either one of them can get them all. They're both worthy, but I would think we might have some split awards across Player of the Year because he and Flagg are clearly a notch above everybody else and have played to deserve that honor.
To your point, I just looked this up and I didn't realize, but Broom's leading Auburn in assists this year with 72.
Yeah. He does a nice job recognizing, feeling double teams, and then finding open teammates. Obviously, he's blocking shots. He's a double machine. He's a real problem with defending him in the post because he's strong, he's physical, and he gets to that right shoulder. It's pretty much automatic.
Has Bruce Pearl teams always had kind of a similar feel, or have you seen Bruce grow as a head coach through the years?
Yeah, I think he's been terrific from the start. I mean, you always saw the potential even in the very beginning of his career. I mean, his passion, his enthusiasm, the way he sees and talks the game, the way he has been able to play different ways. So, yeah, you could see that he had the potential to be really, really good, and he's taken it to another level at Auburn. And a lot of that, I think, is just, having a sense of who you are and what it is you're about and how you're going to go about leading the young men entrusted to you and what style and culture you want to have as a program. And kudos to him. I mean, he's been terrific. He's great for our game, and he's got a program that he's taking to really neat heights with an opportunity to even add to that this season.
That and a kid like Pettiford, too. The immediate impact that he has had has been unbelievable.
Hey, I tell you what, guys, the freshman class across the country is remarkable. It really is special. I mean, with all of the transfer portal and so many teams being so much older, a lot of 6-year players still around and 5th-year players. Most teams are older. There are very few young teams across the country now because of the landscape. And yet, I can't recall, and I'd have to go back and do some research, but I can't recall more impactful freshmen across the country. I mean, you've got the marquee guys, Harper and Bailey, obviously Cooper Flagg, but there's a ton of them. And Pettiford is one of the very best freshmen out there. You got Derek Queen at Maryland. I mean, I could go down the list. I think I've got a list of probably 40 guys that are first-year players that have had huge impacts on winning. And not all of them are at the power conference level. There are a number of them that are playing at the mid-major level that are doing good work. But I love Pettiford. I mean, he's come up big in a lot of the biggest moments for Auburn, which is a credit to him and another indicator of his specialness as a player. I mean, he can make shots. He can make plays. He's fearless. Plays with really good poise. So I love watching that young fella play. He's had a terrific first year so far.
Talking to Clark Kellogg right now, and I would imagine another guy on that list is LeBaron Philon for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
No doubt. A lot in his book bag as well. And he's obviously playing with really good players. The style is suited to him. But there's man, he's nice too. So this is gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be fun. The tournament always delivers. I know we're a few weeks away from Selection Sunday, but the tournament always delivers. I don't know. And I know folks from Alabama are listening. I don't know if a number 1 seed gets to San Antonio, just because of all the quality of good teams that are going to be seeded in that 6. You say 4 to 10 range.
Yeah,
there are going to be some good teams in that 4 to 10 seed range that could be problematic, and so that's going to be really interesting to take a look at. And again, I'm excited for what's remaining in the regular season and conference tournaments, and then obviously the 3-week run to a championship is something we all get excited about.
So, who are some of the teams you really like that are going to be in that 6 to 10 area?
Yeah, Illinois is one of them, guys. I mean, they could potentially move themselves into maybe, I don't know if there's, and again, I really don't analyze the seeding. I really don't start looking at that closely until 5 or 6 days before Selection Sunday, because that gives you an opportunity to really evaluate who is legitimately on the stoop, who's done enough to be a 1, 2, or 3 seed. You can better discern and determine what that should look like. Right now, there's just too much work and too much basketball left to be played to really kind of lock into that. So I'll wait for a little while. But certainly Illinois is a team of that ilk. I think UConn, obviously, I don't know where they'll fall on the seed line. They should be a tournament team without a collapse. They've got enough material and could find what they need to be really dangerous. I mean, you envision them maybe as at this point, again, I haven't really looked at speculation, but they could be, a 7, 8, 9 seed maybe? That would be pretty dangerous to look at. I mean,
it's a two-time defending champ there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. They're a different crew, but nonetheless, that culture is real. I like what I've seen from Creighton. I don't know where they'll land on the seed line, but they've played some of their best basketball recently until losing to UConn. They had won 9 in a row. So there are a number of teams out there. I mean, I look at teams outside of the Power 6. I mean, a team like Yale out of the Ivy, they have to win their league championship, but they've won 8 games in a row. They've got tremendous personnel, experienced personnel, one of the outstanding undersung coaches in the game, and James Jones. The Mid-American Conference always produces a dangerous double-digit seed. Akron has the longest winning streak in the country right now. They've won 12 games in a row, and they're good. I've watched them. So, again, there are a number of teams that could fall into that 4 to 10, 11 range. Drake, I think, is a tournament team. I don't know how the committee views them, but they've won 11 games in a row. They're 13-2 in the league. I've watched them multiple times. I watched them against Vanderbilt early in the season. Vandy, how about Vandy?
Yeah.
Or Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Or Mississippi State. Again,
I'm kind of leaning towards Texas A&M as
but they're going to be a top 4 line.
Okay.
Team.
Okay.
I can't see them not being somewhere in our show on Saturday. I mean, I just can't. I can't not see them being on one of those top 4 lines. So I'm talking about teams outside of that.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But to your point, though, I mean, could Kentucky be in that conversation that you're talking about?
Interesting. That's an interesting call. Yeah, they could possibly be a 5 or 6. Maybe they could move themselves depending on what happens in the conference tournament and the rest of the way. They possibly could be. It'd be interesting to see where they fall if they make the top 16 on Saturday, because that's been a pretty good indicator. I was just looking at our numbers, guys. We've done that show since 2017. Obviously, we didn't do it in 2020, but 84% of the 16 seeds that we've selected on the preview show have been on the top 4 lines on Selection Sunday.
Wow.
84%. 84. I think it's 83.9 or 84.9, but it's a pretty healthy indicator of things not changing a lot. And I think all 28 number 1 seeds have stayed on that line. I think I may be mistaken about that, but I've got the percentage right in terms of what it indicates 4 weeks later, that 85% of those teams are somewhere on those top 4 lines.
I mean, Clark, if you're reading what I'm reading, I'm seeing the potential of 3 SEC teams getting a 1 seed.
Yeah, I love Florida, obviously. I mean, Auburn and Alabama. I think Auburn is a lock for a number 1 seed. They've just done too much good work all year long. Alabama has done really good work and has now stepped up a bit. Certainly Florida has been uber impressive. I mean, the games they've won recently with less than a full roster is extremely impressive.
That second half of Mississippi State was just...
Yeah, they've got everything. I mean, they've got tremendous guard play. They've got size. They've got reinforcement off the bench. They can beat you slow. They can beat you fast because they've got a nice half-court offense. They defend at the rim. They've got 3 big guys they can interchange that all do good things at both ends of the floor. I've liked them since the beginning of the year, and they've only validated my appreciation for him here recently.
So I know we started with what we call the iBob, the Iron Bowl of basketball.
What do you call it?
The iBob. The iBob.
iBob.
Yeah.
E-Y-E.
IBOB, Iron Bowl of basketball. So,
I like that.
yeah. But who you like? Who you like on Saturday? It's a home court advantage for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, but sometimes it's kind of comfortable for a team of equal ability to be on the road in terms of us against them and having a chance to do something special. Road wins are hard to come by in conference play. They are uber hard. As a matter of fact, I think in college basketball, the home court advantage is more significant than in any other sport when you look at the percentages of home team wins.
Yeah.
So that would lead you to believe Alabama has an advantage, but Auburn, because of the way they're made, I think they're going to relish this opportunity. So I would give a slight edge to the Tigers.
About a 4-point edge, right? That's what the.
That's what the number. I don't know if I can.
That's the Vegas line.
Okay.
We can talk more openly about our friends in Vegas now more than ever.
Question. Oh yeah, it's wide open, and that's okay, but it also brings some additional pressure that's not fair for these kids.
That's true.
Also, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
100%.
It is much more transparent and in the open, and it's part of the appeal of all sports. I understand that, but there's a dark side to it too that we hope to see be diminished somewhat as it relates to folks attacking kids on social media around these numbers and spread.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well put. If there is maybe one other tweener, UNA has really positioned themselves quite well in the ASUN. They're tied with Lipscomb, Jacksonville, Florida Gulf Coast. That ASUN is, but UNA has really positioned themselves quite well.
They haven't. I've not seen them yet, but that's the work I do during the course of the regular season. I'm always trying to watch the top teams in the non-power conferences. I haven't delved into the ASUN, but I will over the next week or so to get a handle on who's going to possibly come out of there. But yeah, I've been keeping an eye on those, and it's pretty much jammed up. It looks like anybody's particular tournament come conference tournament time.
Well, my guy behind the glass would, hit me over the head with a stick if I didn't mention Jacksonville State.
That's right.
I like them. I have watched them.
Yeah.
I have watched the Gamecocks, and I like their squad. Yeah, because I tell you, Liberty's a good squad in that league as well.
Right.
They just play a solid fun. I actually watched the game where Jacksonville State beat Liberty recently, and that was fun to see those two teams because I had seen Liberty a couple of times and I hadn't seen Jacksonville State, but they've got a dynamic duo there that can score the ball. What is it, Pierre? And then,
that's right.
I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but I like what I saw from Ray Harper's team. Yeah, they look like they could be very formidable if they get out of that conference tournament and make the field.
I cannot help but want to end with because I know how much time you guys spent in the studio. March is going to feel a little different without Greg Gumbel.
No question. We all had a great run and were positively impacted and influenced by Greg. He was such a wonderful man in terms of his professionalism, his class, his kindness, his perspective. You don't replace that, and you miss it forever, but you remember him forever as well. And we did have a little bit of an easing into this in that he wasn't able to join us last year during the tournament, which was a gut shot. And then we were holding out hope that we would get another chance to have him next to us, and it just didn't work out that way. So while saddened by his loss, I'm so grateful for the time we did have together, the friendship we established as colleagues, the run we had, and being part of what really is one of the special sporting events. And nobody did it better in that seat. That's an air traffic controller seat in the world of sports, and he did it with great aplomb and calm and humor and class, and was a broadcasting legend. But more than that, he was a wonderful guy who lifted everybody that he touched, and I'm extremely grateful to have been in his orbit.
Well, well said. And he was sorely missed last year, but I just I couldn't help but want to go there and get your thoughts because of how much time y'all spent together. So thank you for the thoughts, sir. So
yeah, appreciate the question.
What time does the show fire up on?
We'll be 12:30 on CBS, and then we'll do the same thing on CBS Sports Network at 1 o'clock or so. And I think, so we'll go back to back on both of our.
So that'll be a pregame. That'll be a little pregame for the Alabama Auburn game.
Correct. Yeah, we've got Wisconsin at Purdue following the show. So get your last channel button working, or the multi-view on YouTube TV.
No doubt about that. Well, I know you're about to head into the bunker, so I can't thank you enough for your time, and it's always fun this time of year.
Yeah, sure is. Always enjoy being with you guys. Thanks.
All right, is Clark Kellogg kind enough to join us? And again, that's high noon. I guess that might be 11 Central Time, I'm guessing, over on WHNT here locally.
I love the way he talks.
Oh, isn't he great?
Yes.
Smooth.
Smooth.
Can we just give him a book to read?
Yes, exactly.
Just sit back and let him have at it?
But he's so cerebral.
Oh, yeah. You can tell he knows what he's talking about.
No question.
He's not connected anymore, guys. He can't hear you.
Got to know Mr. Kellogg a little bit during my time with the Hawks. He was with the Pacers doing Pacers TV, and just we would just talk strategy and just talk ball, although that happens every weekday morning right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So always appreciate Mr. Kellogg to give us some time here on the program. Let's take our first time out. We'll have final call for phone calls on the other side if you'd like to jump aboard. 256-576-4977.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying roll tide and war eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Howdy, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. Whether you're planning a tailgate party at the game, cheering for your favorite teams at home, or at your local Baumhauers with your family and friends, we're here to make your football party legendary with our party-ready tray selections. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to the homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course, our fresh, never frozen, award-winning buffalo-style chicken wings. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your Your shingles, we can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
But you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankofFrankEwing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Final call for phone calls as we're walking you up to UAH Charger basketball. Slated to tip in about an hour's time. Always kind of dependent on the women's game right in front. And let's find out exactly where the women's game is. It is halfway through the third quarter right now. Wow, a 20-point lead for the Chargers at 47-27 as UAH is putting it on Christian Brothers right now, 47-27. And in the game, oh, look at Mia Hollingsworth with 15 in the game, including 5 made threes. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Clark Kellogg, breaking down. He liked the iBob. He liked that
a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He might use that.
We shall see. We'll find out what happens there over the airwaves. So maybe a little shout out from Huntsville, Alabama. Well, I
wouldn't hold my breath on that.
I know. If he just says the word iBob, then we have
that'll be a little nudge to us. Yeah,
I am hosting a program at the moment as the Chargers lead at 48-27 over Christian Brothers, and we'll have coverage on the men's side coming up at the top of the hour. But you'll actually hear Mick Hedgespeth after our next time out. But if you'd like to call into the program, the number is 256-576-4977. The telephone number, 256-576-4977. If you would like to participate here over the airwaves as the Chargers and Buccaneers will square off in a game that you can hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Now, I'm also telling you that Saturday as well, those games will be over on Talk Radio WZZN because of how big this game. It's just turned into a life of its own. So it is beginning at 2:00. 2:00 on Saturday.
Everybody's picking Auburn, including Vegas, though, right?
So
who do you like?
In terms of, we've already gone through this once this week. Now, I do agree with Dane. Dane Bradshaw was on with us yesterday. When you take a look, and I've seen quite a few games from both Auburn and Alabama. Auburn makes fewer mistakes. I'm not saying they're more talented than Alabama. They look fairly equal from a talent from top to bottom. but the team that makes the fewer mistakes, I would say, has the edge, and that's the road team. But you would turn around and say, home team's worth something. It's got to be worth something. I think Bama's going to find a way. I do. I just.
Well, I kind of agree with you.
I think Bama's going to find a way.
Being favored helps Alabama. To me, I think that's something Nate Oates can use. Because it in the end.
Dang it.
I hate when we agree. It usually doesn't turn out very well. But yes, Auburn to me has the best team.
And that defense.
If you add the points up at the end, I think Auburn's will have scored more. I mean, the two games, but truthfully, I think if Alabama can win the next 7, win 5 of them, that'd be awesome.
I don't know if folks have checked out Bama's schedule here down the stretch.
Well, their overall schedule right now is the best in the country.
But if you really we're obviously spending a lot of time on Saturday. Obvious. Then at Columbia to take on Missouri, in Tuscaloosa taking on Kentucky, also taking on Mississippi State. But okay, here's your final 3 games, Bama fans. Knoxville against Tennessee, at home against Florida, and then at Auburn. That's your final 3 games. It is just brutal. Tennessee, Florida, Auburn to end the year for Alabama.
Yes.
It's just,
and to me, the only way you can beat Auburn is to be hot. That's what happened. That's how Florida beat them.
And that's how Duke beat them
but
too.
Alabama doesn't have the front line that Auburn has. I mean, that Florida has. So that to me, it was a combination of both of those things: their shooting and their defense at the rim, and it affected Broome big time.
Yeah,
Broome and Cardwell.
The turnovers have been an issue here recently for Alabama as well.
I mean, they've been winning with the turnovers, but they're still an issue. I mean, you're not going to beat a really good team with a lot of turnovers.
So one sidebar here, and by the way, it's NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll have coverage for you coming up this weekend. The reason I bring that up, the NBA needs to take a look at the NHL. I don't know if you've gotten or if you watched the Canada-Sweden game last night. They turned this into a 4-nation tournament where right now Team USA getting ready to take on Finland. And then last night, maybe because the jerseys were so that sweet-looking Canada jerseys, it was an overtime win. It was in Canada. The crowd was really hyped up for it. Canada wins 4-3 in overtime. I mean, we're always looking at ways to improve these all-star events. NHL has knocked it out of the park. They really have. Team USA warming up right now. And the jerseys, I'm telling you.
Get some guys from Canada to play football. That's the only problem.
Well, no, I'm talking NBA. Well, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Maybe it would be better if America could host the American game, or if you went to Sweden or went to Finland and kind of had that Davis Cup feel from back in the day of because that crowd was electric last night for Team Canada. And plus, which it was an overtime win over.
See, I got a good idea for the NFL.
Okay. All right. What you got?
So you take the Southeastern Conference versus the Big Ten and have them draft everybody else. Right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty interesting.
That would be pretty cool.
Yes. And they actually played. Yeah.
It has a little bit of that college all-star feel that we had way back in the day.
Well, but it'd spark interest.
Yeah. Yes, it would. Yeah. This is certainly, to me,
yes, this is a good idea.
Has sparked some interest
absolutely.
in the 4-nation tournament, and I didn't think that game would suck me in as much as it did last night, but the energy in the crowd.
Yeah, but that's what you would do. It'd be people would actually go see something like that. Southeastern Conference versus the Big Ten, and then have them draft the other players that make the Pro Bowl.
By the way, for those that did not hear how it ended last night,
They don't.
you can hear the nervous energy in the building right there.
Good for Brodeen. Brodeen with a shot. He scores. Jonas Brodeen over the glove hand of Bennington. Sweden is back within a goal.
Or battles in front of the net for Sweden, but what a play by Raymond to push Doughty off the puck and then play it to the point. This pass by Hedman was off the mark a little bit. Oh, there's a moving screen right there. I think it was Raquel. Keep your eye on 67. Kind of passing right there, and and it actually goes right in the middle of.
That was one of the earlier goals.
It's picked up by Crosby.
He's looking to see if he's
got that energy. Morrissey went to the bench. Crosby delayed and sets up Marner. Full stride into the zone. Mitch Marner scores! Mitch Marner! An overtime winner for Team Canada.
And he laid out for a good solid minute right there. And the crowd just took it over. It was great. It was great. But Team USA playing tonight. They're taking on Finland. That's coming up in about 39 minutes time. And I'm recording it. I've got a little bit of a basketball game to do tonight as the Chargers taking on Christian Brothers. And let's see here. Yeah, the women are taking care of business just fine. UAH women are up 61-35 over Christian Brothers. It's pretty good. Mia Hollingsworth for the Chargers with 23 in the game. She's 7 of 11 from the floor. It's pretty good. Yeah. That'll win you a couple of games as Chargers have made 10 threes in the game, 6 of them from Mia Hollingsworth. Final call for phone calls at 256-576-4977, the telephone number. If we have previewed a lot of the Alabama-Auburn matchup, and we're going to re-rack a few of them of the interviews tomorrow, and I will be here because I'm going to try my best to be here. Maybe that's a better way to put it. The Chargers softball team is in action tomorrow, also taking on Christian Brothers. I did talk with Coach Les Studeman, asked her if that's a doubleheader tomorrow at Charger Park. Dress warmly if you're heading out to Charger Park tomorrow. But both baseball and softball will be on our zones. But I think we're making logos where we have the Charger zone, but I think we're going to have the Charger softball zone as well. And that's where I'll be. And I think Joe Hunk will have the baseball. But there is, anyway, the weather's obviously been an issue this week, this just in. But we'll find out how much of the grounds crew squad, a.k.a. the coaching staff, have done to make the field ready to go for tomorrow at high noon there at Charger Park. So that'll be fun tomorrow. But again, I got 2 softball games, so I may be coming in on 2 wheels tomorrow. So
we have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to things for you guys to listen to from UAH. And if Steve Moulton needs to stop and catch his breath, don't worry. We got you. Got some great interviews lined up. Been doing all that production here.
That's right.
Ready to go. Safety net for our fearless program director.
I appreciate your work back there behind the glass as well. And I mean, I'm thinking about back to Enos Watley. We talked to him earlier in the week. We've just, and then hearing Sonny Smith earlier today, breaking it down as only Sonny can. And you could tell, I'm not sure what fine restaurant establishment he was in, but you could tell dinner was on his mind, which, hey, I'm not hating. I'm not, no. So
I was over here looking at the zone deals, figuring out what's for dinner.
Yeah, well, Carrabba's Italian Grill.
Hey guys,
sounds pretty darn
tomorrow
good.
is Valentine's Day.
Oh, is it?
977ESPN.com, top left corner. Click on that. Zone deals, all sorts of great stuff.
Save yourself some cash.
It's first of all, it's the only game in town where you double your money.
Yeah.
And number two, pull Valentine's Day out of the fire. You can pull this off. You can get this done.
So
you download them.
Sea Salt is another place.
Yes, it is.
That could be a sneaky good place for Valentine's Day. Carrabba's Italian Grill.
Yep.
We've got a lot of places. But if you're like our guy over there behind you, he's all Full Moon Barbecue all the time.
Well,
So
and let me just give a quick shout out to a couple of friends of mine. The Improv Comedy Group, the Open to Suggestions Improv Comedy Group, they've got shows tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday night. You can search the web and find them. It's a great day, and that's what we're doing. Saturday night is date night. We have moved since we're both working tomorrow. We're moved Valentine's to Saturday. We can call it the Gulf of America. We can move Valentine's Day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look for that. And that's I've got several friends in that group, and it's going to be hilarious.
for more of that, Bill O'Reilly is over on Talk Radio.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out, and I know I'm crossing the line here, but there's no way that Canada could be the 51st state. College football playoffs are complicated enough as it is.
I don't
Talk
know that.
Radio, WZZN.
Okay, I don't know that story. I've not been following that story.
You can catch up with that.
I thought Greenland was our 51st state.
No. That's just going to be a territory.
Oh, it's territory.
They're going to play hockey.
Okay, gotcha. Against Finland, right?
Do you know how I remember? Iceland has little ice.
That's right, and Greenland has no green.
No green.
The Vikings played the best punk on everybody all those years ago.
Didn't they? All right, let's take.
You don't want Iceland. No. You don't want that. You want Greenland.
My conversation with head coach Mick Hedgesmith on the other side, walking you up to UAH Charger basketball on the other side.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer again. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is extremely proud to have recently received numerous awards, including being voted best wings in the state of Alabama. Other awards received include Best All-Around Restaurant, Best American Restaurant, #1 Sports Bar, Best Chef, Best Wings, and Best Dining Experience. Thank you for 43 legendary years, and we look forward to providing you an award-winning dining experience at every visit. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Partly cloudy sky expected for this Thursday night. Low temperatures falling into the upper 20s for the overnight. Heading into our Friday, expected to be mostly sunshine. High temperatures only warming into the lower 50s for the afternoon. Expect breezy conditions at times. Heading into the weekend, we've got the risk for a few strong to severe thunderstorms to develop. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We are your home for March Madness.
Hit the corner. James, right corner three. Oh, it's a Tennessee blitz. The Volunteers dominating the Creighton Blue Jays in the second half.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's hard to believe we're already here at the final home week of the regular season, but I know there's still a lot left to do. But before we dive into that, Mississippi College, just from beginning to end, what did you think of that overall win there in Clinton? Congratulations on another win, Coach.
Thank you. It was my first time in that arena, which was interesting. I've never heard acoustics like that anywhere we've ever played or that I've coached. I thought, to be honest, for one of the first times all year, one of the few times, I felt like we just weren't totally dialed in at the level that we need to be to start the game. We had offensive mistakes, 9 first-half turnovers, defensive scouting report mistakes that were a little uncharacteristic. Ultimately, it's my job to make sure these guys are ready. So I just have to figure out what exactly happened, and we can't allow ourselves to have a letdown like that again. I thought it was an incredibly